Hey guys, what's going on? I got a great show for you today. So we got Peter from Ecommerce Empire Builders. He's one of our longest running clients, and we've been working together for like 2.5 years. And his business has grown like ridiculous amounts in those years. And basically, he is on here today to teach you guys about what he does, which is e-commerce sales funnels and how he gets really high conversion rates for e-commerce stores. So Peter, welcome.
Man, thank you. Thank you a ton, man. I appreciate it. It's crazy to think how long. It's definitely been over 2 years, though, man. It has to have been like over three at this point. But thanks for having me on. I hope I can share as much value with your audience here as possible.
Awesome. So I'd love to hear a little bit of background into like how you got started and then how you got into the e-commerce world.
hmm So I'll try and keep this really, really brief. Just so we can get into, talking about the sales funnels and all that stuff that's going to be more actionable. But I got started in online businesses probably around 13 years ago. First made my first dollar online doing affiliate marketing when I was in college. My freshman year, dorm roommate completely introduced me to this whole world, right? Because I was going to school thinking, hey, I'm going to just go do like IT stuff, right? It's a good industry. Let me just go do all that stuff, right? Just like that American dream, right? Started making some money online in college with affiliate marketing. And that really created like an entrepreneurial itch for me that I didn't know really existed, right? Because to me, even when my roommate introduced me to making money online, it was just so foreign to me, right? And now it's a little bit more not mainstream, but it is a little bit more mainstream as far as making money online. But again, started with affiliate marketing, showed me that it's actually possible, to make money online. Still ended up having to get a full-time job after graduation, but I always had that in the back of my head. I was like, man, like it was awesome making money online, like in school, like, why can't I do this full time? And that thought of doing it full time didn't really, come into my mind until I was like actually interning when I was a senior in college. And I was like, man, like this just sucks. Like this isn't for me. Like, and again, this is not knocking people that work 9 to 5 job. Some people love it and they just want to have a side hustle, whatever, but it just wasn't for me. So that's when I started learning about like, creating your own sort of brand, and not just always promoting other people's products and making commissions, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're doing that, you're just building, somebody else's business, right? So I really wanted to be like, well, how can I create something that, I have affiliates paying, promoting my products, or how am I, creating something like a real asset for myself as opposed to just, building somebody else's, business. That's when I started learning about e-commerce, primarily through Amazon FBA. I could go on a tangent there for 15, 20 minutes about Amazon, but, to make a long story short, with Amazon, ended up building, $50,000 per month business, within our first year and a half. It was doing roughly $80,000 a month in Q4. Ended up losing that Amazon account due to some false IP claims. And those of you that maybe did Amazon back in the day, even now, right? Like a competitor could literally just go on your listing and just say you're infringing on patents, even though it's like completely false. Right? Because Amazon's not in that game to get caught up with legal battles with sellers, and they make you kind of like hash it out together. But again, we completely lost that business in the blink of an eye. It took about a year just to get that account back. And that's when I realized that, man, like, and again, most of you guys watching, you're already probably doing this, is like, when you sell on Amazon, right, you're not actually building your business. You're still building it at somebody else's playground and building, Amazon's business, right? They don't give you the email addresses of your customers. They don't really give you much information there. They don't let you control the sales process, the upsells, the back end stuff that you can do to make more money, right? So that's when I made that realization, started learning about Shopify at that point. Tried a whole ton of stuff with Shopify. But my issue was that I wasn't really making a lot of money, right? Like at the end of the day, like the profit was so low, right? Because I fell into this belief that the only way to grow my business was to just get more sales, right? And this is where a big issue with a lot of e-commerce sellers comes in, is like, you think the only way to grow your business is to get more customers through the door. But that's like a very, very, that's a very like basic way of looking at it, right? Because it's like a business to me is like an iceberg, right? It's like the sale is just the top part of it, right? There's so much more that you can do on the bottom. And that's actually when I was in a mastermind group, and I still remember this. I was like in a hotel room in this mastermind call, and you know, a new software was coming out, a new software, and I was like, you know, okay, let's hop on the mastermind. They were doing like a presentation. It was actually ClickFunnels. This was like 6 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, right? When they were just doing like a tour, and they were basically, one of their marketing strategies was they were going all these different masterminds and like doing demos and pushing people to use ClickFunnels. And that's where like like a light bulb went off in my mind. I was like, wow, like, okay, like I never even thought in my head to upsell customers. Like weird, like it's a weird. I didn't even, and back in the day, I didn't even think about that, right? Or collecting email addresses, or setting up email automations, or it's like things that you can't do to start, but things that you could do kind of on the back end, right? And that's when I started kind of using the sales funnels primarily. You know, we hit the 2 Comma Club award, you know, for our fishing business back then. And kind of like the rest is history. That's like a 10 to 5 minutes here, kind of my story here, of kind of where we're at now.
Yeah, that's a really cool story. And I actually didn't know about the Amazon part. And that being said, it's very true because I have friends who sell on Amazon. One of my friends, his Amazon account got suspended for like 4 months because
Mm-hmm.
he was some BS, you know, like minor thing, right? And he had to get it back. And in that time, he wasn't making any money. And I think that's a really good point where if you're dependent on one platform, it's a risky proposition. If you're dependent just on Facebook ads, if you're dependent just on Amazon, if you're dependent just on one little thing, it's a risky proposition for your business. And then the more control you have, the better it is. The more you have basically an asset versus borrowing somebody else's platform, the better
Yeah.
you're going to do long term.
That's a big thing to understand, because I'm not knocking selling on Amazon. I still think people should sell on it. Like we're putting our supplement right now, actually, just big a pain in the butt getting you know, unrestricted to actually sell the supplement on Amazon. But it's a sales channel, right? Like it shouldn't be your primary place where you're getting sales from, but it's just there. It's free money, yes, but like remember, at the end of the day, you have to you know, control your own sales process, your own funnels, your websites, and all that, and create assets for yourself, right? Because you know, that's what's at the end of the day. Like when I look at like assets for a business, like what are they, right? Like what are the real assets for a business? If for e-commerce or any online business, it's like your email list, right? It's phone numbers, right? Those are like real assets, like that you can put on like a USB, right? Like oftentimes we're kind of restricted by the softwares that we use, unless you have like, you know, your own site that you built from scratch. But oftentimes like we're kind of like, you know, building our business on somebody else's playground. But when you have these assets that you can move from wherever you want, you know, and that's where you want that focus, right? At the end of the day, you know, when you look at, you know, customer lists versus, you know, your non-buyers list that you have, and we can get into this conversation soon, is like, man, like the conversions you make on a buyer's list are like 10 times higher than what you do on a non-buyers, right? If you do like an email promotion or something like that. And I think a lot of sellers, it's almost where it's like you forget that that person gave you money, right? Like you forget, like hey, they're sitting on our buyers list, and maybe you'll have like one campaign that goes out for them like the next month after they buy or something, but then you like completely forget to email them ever again, right? And that's like that's such free money, because it's like 10 times easier to convert somebody that's already given you money, right? Because that first yes is the hardest, than somebody that has never even, never given you a dollar,
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely. Yeah, that's such a huge part of it. And I mean that's what's kind of interesting because what you do goes against what most e-commerce store owners, e-commerce brands or drop shippers, anybody who's in the e-com world, whether they be newbie or a lot of 7 and 8 figure brands, what you do is completely goes against the grain of the salt. And that's why it's really interesting, because it's much more direct response and conversion focused versus a lot of what goes on in the e-com world, where it's kind of people who are just basically they assume that okay, they just got to find a really good product and drive traffic to it, but they don't really think about the customer journey. They don't really think about it in terms of what the path is to kind of get them to buy again, get them to come back, and so on. So in your words, what do you think the biggest mistakes are that people make in the e-commerce world right now?
Man, there's so many. And again, I think a lot of people that are already doing well can put these kind of little things in play, and like you'll see an increase in your revenue, profits primarily. So the biggest one, I'll just start with the biggest one, is not offering some sort of subscription. Right? I think that's the biggest, right? Like whether it's a physical subscription box, like let's say you're selling, some sort of supplement, right? Just giving them some sort of subscribe and save option, right?
Mhm.
If you're doing, whatever, some sort of, arts and crafts products you sell, right? Offering them some sort of, arts and crafts subscription box where every month they get, some new designs that their kids can do. I mean, you guys know this, what a subscription box is, but offering some sort of subscription box. Now, if you're in like a niche that maybe is more digital, product related, maybe you're selling physical products, right? But a lot of, like, let's say you sell fitness equipment, right? Well, maybe you could do a purely digital members area, right? Something where they get like Beachbody, right? They basically have a huge library of a ton of different workouts that you can follow for like $20 a month or whatever it is, something like that. And these aren't difficult things to put into your business, right? So like one of the people that we work with, he was in the golf space. So what we ended up doing for him was he basically had a continuity. He was selling a subscription, like a physical product on the front end, like golf training stuff. And then his subscription was like, I believe it was like $59 a month or something like that. And it was all digital. It was, basically send in your golf swing once a week and we'll analyze it and give you like tips and things to change up. Right. So like little things like that you can put into your business, that's going to, these are free sales that come in every single month, right? Like you might as well have some sort of offer, some sort of subscription offer that you give your customers, right? Meaning don't sell the subscription on the front end, sell it into your upsells or as a back end automation, right? Subscription to me shouldn't be sold on the front end. It's kind of tough to sell it. Because it's like getting somebody to pay their bills, right? They don't look forward to it. But after you get that first yes, it's a lot easier once they've gotten some value from you, to then sell them the subscription. Again, be it digital products or physical products, or even just like a mixture of the two. It's easy, right? And this kind of leads me to the next point is most e-commerce sellers, we pigeonhole ourselves a lot, right? People think like, oh, okay, I sell e-commerce products. That means I only sell physical products. And that's like, again, why pigeonhole yourself, right? You should exploit every single business opportunity that's out there, right? Sell digital products, right? If sell courses, sell ebooks, PDFs, whatever, right? Sell affiliate offers, right, to your list, right? This is free money that's sitting out there, right? So what I actually spend a lot of my day doing nowadays is literally just like thinking about where are my customers spending money and why am I not getting a cut? Because they're buying it anyway. Right. So for example, right, let's say you own, you sell some sort of nutrition products or whatever, not even nutrition. Let's use the example of fitness equipment. You're selling like resistance bands or whatever. And you notice that a lot of your customers are buying like supplements, right? Protein powders, green juice, whatever. Right. And you're like, well, I wonder, if I launched one, if I launched a green juice, would they buy it from me? And before you even do that, right, I always keep things as low risk, low cost just to test things out. Just like literally go to ClickBank or whoever, right, and find a green juice that you can promote, right? And then you promote it to your list. You can see how the conversions are on that, right? And then you can be like, okay, look at the conversions I got just from sending them traffic. Now you can continue to just make a commission by driving your customers to an affiliate offer, right? Or you can use it as data and be like, okay, now I can launch my own green juice because my people are telling me that they're buying green juice. That's why affiliate marketing is a great way to test out potential future offers for you. Same thing with like courses and ebooks and cheat sheets and things like that. Like most niches, I would say most, right? There's gonna be content creators in them, right? You could do this by just typing in whatever your niche is into YouTube and just seeing what are they consuming for free. Typically, if people are consuming stuff for free, that most likely means that there's some sort of, there's some content probably out there that they're paying for. You can go on like Udemy, Skillshare. I mean, there's so many websites out there where people are buying courses and looking at what are they selling. You can go look at the content creators, right? Or are they offering any kind of courses or anything like that, right? ClickBank. I mean, you just have to do your research here, right? And now these are things that either you can go create this kind of, asset for yourself, or you can go hire a content creator to create them for you, or work out a deal with an affiliate to license their course and sell it to your customers. So it's like a win-win for either, right? But these are easy ways and little things like this that you can start putting into your business, right? So back to the example, and this was another one in the golf. We've done a lot of stuff in this golf space. The other one was somebody was selling, again, golf training stuff on the front and physical products, and then on the thank you pages, basically sending them to the like a checkout, or not to a checkout, to a call booking page. Right now, this call booking page they would get on a call and they would be sold, packages, $5,000 and up for personalized one-on-one golf training sessions. Right. So like imagine knowing that information, right? Like most people are so focused on that first sale that they're like, oh, I can only spend $10 to acquire this customer and that's it, or $50, whatever it is. Right. They're only looking at first sale. But now what if, one out of, 20 people, right, actually end up buying your high ticket product that costs, $5,000. Right? You can reverse engineer those numbers and be like, well, I can actually spend, hundreds of dollars to get these people, right? And that's how you start separating yourself from the competition, right? Most people are so focused on being like, oh man, like how do I lower my cost per purchase? How do I lower, all this? And instead of thinking, because there's two ways to look at it. You can look at it like, okay, I have to do new creative, I have to do new ads, I have to do all this stuff, right? But instead of focusing on on like, how can I set up my business on the back end in a way where it's like, no matter if that cost doubles right now, I can still withstand that and I can make those numbers kind of work. So that's usually what I'm always thinking about, because at the end of the day, no matter if you're selling digital or physical products, like ad costs are going to keep going up, right? Like more and more people are getting into this space. They're just going to be going up. So if you start thinking, like if you really start thinking about, hey, you know what? My cost to acquire a customer right now is I'm profitable at, $50 or whatever it is. Well, how can I set it up where it's $100? What do I have to put in here, right? Emails, upsells, whatever that you do to be able to do $100. And that's like that kind of goes back to the saying. I know most of you guys probably know this quote from Dan Kennedy, he who can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And that's how you start getting to that number, right? Because most e-commerce sellers, they're not direct response people. Again, I'm telling you, I click a lot of ads, and so I see a lot of the stuff that's in the e-com space. Is most people don't upsell. Most people don't have any email marketing. They rely on that first time sale. And dude, that tells you, like, if everybody's doing that, then you shouldn't be doing that. You should be changing it up in a way that other people are doing it, because that's what your competition's thinking about, right? They're all thinking about, oh, how do I lower my cost per purchase? What hack can I do in my video ad to get cheaper clicks or whatever? It just, and like I said, I'm always thinking, more back end. That's where I like to think more so, because at the end of the day, front end ad costs, you obviously know this, that's going to continue to go up. Right. And I'm sure, if and this is why we work so long together, right? Because that's where I'm thinking, right? Like at the end of the day, I know there's only so much somebody that run your ads can do. There is so much, because think about it, everybody in your niche, right, is doing the same exact thing. They're all like, just like, let's say you're getting, we both own a arts and crafts business, whatever. Like, trust me, your competition that's probably in that same niche is probably getting customers for roughly what you're getting, right? Maybe a couple bucks here or there, whatever, but we're all pretty much getting customers at that same point, right? So don't think it's like, oh, it's just my business. It's that, no, like everybody in your niche that's advertising to those people is probably at the same. That's why I say focus on the back end stuff, right? Focus on how do you set up the business in a way to be able to, withstand higher ad costs, because again, they're not going away. Like it's just going to continue they're going to continue to get higher. So.
Yeah, I mean, this brings up such a great point, and it's especially about subscriptions, right? Because a lot of businesses that are reliant on subscriptions, they are very reliant on front-end subscriptions, right? They're very focused on, okay, I want to get subscribers for my physical product or for my software. And this is what I see in the software industry. Everybody's trying to sell subscriptions, but the problem is the front-end acquisition cost is really high. So you often have a lot of software companies that are like, hey, somehow we can magically have a paid media strategy that is going to beat our venture-backed competitors' paid media strategy. And that's not going to work, because the venture-backed guys are going to go like 6 months in the hole to get a customer and then be super happy about it. While, in many cases, bootstrap software companies, they're like, hey, well, I can only afford 2 months. It's like the numbers don't work.
So this
right?
is a huge mistake that I made when I was running my fishing business. That's what I said. That's what I said to myself. I said to myself, hey, you know what? Because I had some partners at the time in that business. I was like, hey guys, we'll make our money back in 6 months. I literally said that. I was like, we'll make our money back in 6 months. That doesn't work for if you're If you don't have, a couple $1 million in the bank and you're really trying to take over a market, like that doesn't work for normal average people like me. Okay. So you can, like, I couldn't do that. So that's like this all kind of meshes together with the story. Is like, that's when I started learning about the funnel and being like, wait, like, it costed us basically $30, $25, $30 to get a monthly subscriber when we were selling the subscription as the front end, right? Plus, when anybody that has a subscription box now, you guys see it, right? You see people always having to do, get your first box for $5, get your, it's your first box free, like things like that, right? To entice them to lose. I'm telling you, those companies, BarkBox does this all the time. They lose money on that first conversion, like their first $5 BarkBox, get it for $5, right? To get that box shipped plus product cost plus any overhead, they're probably going in the hole like $25 just to get that product to you. Not to mention they paying the ads to also. So let's say they're losing $30. I'm generous. They're probably losing more to get a subscriber, right? So they're losing that $30 on the front end, but they know that their churn rate and all the, they do the numbers like, hey, our average customer stays with us for 8 months, right? So we can lose 30 now, but then we will, make that back and more in the next 8 months, right? That's the way these companies think. And they can do that because then they have the venture capital. They just keep shoving more money into it. And that's not a wrong way to go. Right. 100%. Because if you could get venture back, like 100%, you can grow really, really fast like that. But again, I personally always come from the frame of mind where if you have a lot of money, right, and you can invest it like that, it teaches you not. And again, I don't know. I've never had a venture-backed business, but to me, it makes it, if you have money that's easily and readily available to spend, you're probably going to waste a lot of money too, right? As opposed to if you're like, hey, I only have $5,000, like, how do I do this? Like, you're gonna make every dollar count, right? And that's where most,
absolutely,
and that's where most, new e-commerce sellers, are at. So kind of back to my point, when I was doing that with my subscription, what I ended up doing is learning about the funnel and be like, well, how can I set up the funnel in a way where, because I'm losing money on this front end, right? I'm losing money, and then I'm hoping in 6 months I'm profitable, right? But what if I can just change around the way that you sell it, right? Change around the way you're selling it where, hey, what if I could break even on the front end, right? And then upsell the subscription at that point and get free subscribers, right? So things you could do, and this is what we actively do, is like free plus shipping offers, deep discount offers, things that are easy, no-brainer items for people to buy, right? Like overvalued products that, just entice people to come into your world for the very first time. Cold traffic. I'm talking cold traffic here, right? No, they don't know you, like you, trust you, anything, but they're willing to give you a little bit of money to kind of see what you're about. That's who you're going after, right? Same exact person that would be part of your subscription box. So instead of sending them to the subscription page, you're sending them to the funnel, right? And that funnel captures their email address, right? Your two-step order form opt-in page grabs that email, right? That's an asset now, right? Then the next step of the funnel is the order form. That's where they purchase, right? Your free plus shipping offer, your deep discount offer, whatever. And then you can upsell them the subscription or other products or anything like that. But if you look at the numbers with this, you'll notice that, hey, even if we only break even on that first order form sale, we are now have a chance to get subscribers for free to the monthly subscription, right? Because now if they said, yes, we didn't lose, right? We don't have to pay that $30 plus to get it. We can offer that right in our upsells. We can downsell it if we need to as well, right? But that's how you can start changing. It's oftentimes the main thing that you want somebody to do in your business shouldn't be the first thing that they see, right? It should be like behind the curtain almost, right? Because again, that first yes is the hardest. So you don't want to go in and try and sell something like, that's, that they're going to not necessarily, it's a hard sell, right? Like, let's say you're selling something for like $1,000, like, not to say you can't do it. Of course you can. It just, it's going to require a lot more selling, indoctrination, and all those things. Then what if you just offered them something, cheaper for free, right? Something that, is like, let's say $20 and under, right? That is over delivered, right? You can have a physical product, you bundle some info products in with it too, right? Make it very valuable, right? Sell them that, right? Get that first yes out of the way, over deliver. Now that person's going to be way more likely to buy that more expensive thing from you, whether it's your subscription, whether it's some, high ticket product that you have, as opposed, and this is, again, ClickFunnels does this amazingly well. For example, the free books, right? That's where they typically lead in with, hey, that's the free book. And they know, hey, once somebody gets a book from us, our churn rate goes from, 20, 30% or whatever their churn rate is. I have no idea, to like 20% or 10% when they read the book, right? So start thinking. That's how I like to think about, changing around the kind of the way to sell it to make sense number wise for your business.
It's basically like what I've noticed with like basically six-figure entrepreneurs, what they're really focused on is they're focused in on kind of making that first sale and kind of making the numbers work on that. And what I've noticed with higher level entrepreneurs is they're thinking about business structure. And when I mean business structure, they're thinking about what makes sense on the front end, what makes sense on the back end, what should be the price points be like. And they're more thinking like before they even start a business, they're thinking about, okay, how do we engineer this where it's a smooth journey to buying multiple products. And one thing I've noticed in, for example, the info world, is that people will make one info product that solves all their customers' needs in one go, charge $2,000 for it, and there's no upsell path, or they'll make an info product that doesn't get results, and then obviously people won't buy it. But then like the ideal scenario is, something which, and this has its parallel in the e-commerce world, where, you solve one important pain point for them, and then they'll in it for life, and they're like, okay, I want the next level. I want to, to get the results I'm getting now, but like 10x that, right? And e-com world, it could be, there's like getting people more of what they, it's like, hey, the supplement is awesome, I just want to get it every month. It could be taking, whatever that pain point the supplement is solving, and then, helping solve it in another way, which is, let's say you're selling a supplement on, I believe you got a nootropic, right? Or
Yeah.
you're selling a nootropic. So then a course on the back end, which is how to, basically, like how to unlock your mental, I don't know. So it's hard to think of a name right now, but something
it's
like
all
Vision
about the
what Candy
research, right?
does,
But
right?
yeah, I know, I get what
Yeah,
you're saying. That's why I'm saying it's important to be the research, because a lot of people
exactly.
that's what I mean. Like the research is the boring stuff. Like you have to start doing the boring stuff in this game. Like once you're at like the 7-figure level, right? To like, but not enough people want to do that stuff, right? That's what that's what I spend most of my day doing, is just thinking about, again, business structures, like even just from a legal tax point of view, like all of those things, as opposed to, like what's the winning product, right? Like that doesn't, those are more like, tactical sort of things. And even though it's important to have a good product, there's no like winning product, right? It's to me, I look at it as like, well, what's the offer that we're going to make for a customer, right, to be able to acquire more customers, profitably, right? And that's what you need to think about. Whether you sell info product, digital products, physical products, it's all the same. It's all e-commerce, in my opinion, right? Like e-commerce is just, exchanging, somebody has, exchanging commerce online. That's all it is, right? And again, like the way I like to look at it is like, where are your customers spending money, and why aren't you getting a cut of that or offering that product to them, right? One of the best companies that does this, is Survival Life. I'm sure most people have heard of them. Like they are the best, because they are, but I don't know who, I know they're a bunch of direct response marketers. I don't know their exact names.
Ryan Dice.
Ryan Dice, like they're all OGs. They know what they're doing. Okay, these guys have, are pioneers. And just subscribe to their email list. Like it's crazy how they send 2 emails every single day. It's like the only emails list I'm subscribed to, and just look at it. I mean, they use ClickFunnels for all their pages, still, which is kind of shocking. I thought they would go like kind of like their own, whole separate, sites that they would build. But you will see they're selling every day is new stuff, new offers, new courses, new physical products in their survival space, new webinars they're pushing you to for their affiliates. I mean, it's nonstop. Right. And that's why I think a lot of people make that mistake. We were talking about like email marketing beforehand. It's like some of you will be collecting emails. Most people, I would say in e-commerce, don't collect emails as much as they should. They're only collecting their customer email address, but you should be collecting every single person's email, right? You shouldn't be giving people the opportunity to buy from you without getting their email first. right? And like I always get the comment, well, like, oh man, don't you think that's intrusive to like ask for their email before you even get like if they're not going to give you an email address, they're not going to buy from you, right? They're just not. It's not going to happen. Okay. So I always go, again, opt-in page, get that email address. This is building an asset for you, and then you can sell these people over and over again
Hmm.
because maybe they opted in for your product number one, but for some reason they didn't want to buy it. They just didn't see the value in it or whatever. Right now you have this email address at least that you can now promote them additional products and offers, affiliates, courses, whatever it is that you have on the back end, right? And that's where there's so much money left on the table, because if you're not emailing like every day, right, it's free money, right? It really is, right? And I'm not saying like
Hmm.
spam your list with just offers all the time. As long as it's valuable to them, right, then you should be fine, right? But if it's coming off as like spammy and all that, and they're obviously going to unsubscribe. But still, like the purpose of your email list isn't to just have a big email list, because I see like both sides of the coin. I see e-commerce people that have a huge list, but then they just don't email them, right? And then I see the other side where it's like, oh, they just don't even collect email
Yeah.
addresses, right? So I come from the frame of mind where it's like, well, if you're on the email list, you probably need to be a buyer at some point. Otherwise, why am I paying, why am I paying the service provider to have you on here? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that.
Cool. And so what are you doing right now? I know you got the course that obviously teaches people how to do this self, and then you are doing this for people where you're building them sales funnels for their e-commerce brand, and basically allowing, basically just kind of shortcutting everything for them. So
Mhm.
how exactly are you kind of solving those issues for people right now?
Yes, I mean we've done a good amount of funnel launches already, and essentially we do everything A to Z, building, picking the products or picking the niche, picking the products, and building the offer, right? Not just like selling a product, right? It's about like, hey, well, what's our differentiating factor on this product, right? That's what your offer is, right? You bundle in some info products in it, just increase the perceived value, right? At the end of the day,
Hmm.
when cold traffic comes to your page, they need to see a high perceived value. Otherwise they'll just go to Amazon and buy the same thing, right? So from the niche to picking out the offers to building out the funnel pages and then driving traffic to it and seeing, the actual sales coming in. Now, kind of like, do you have a specific piece you want me to focus on? Because I could talk about like the ad side of it, the offer creation aspect of it, or the funnel aspect of it. Is there a specific one you want me to focus on?
I definitely want to learn more about the funnel aspect
Okay.
of it,
So,
and the
so
offer creation and funnel aspect.
Yeah, so like the funnel, believe it or not, right? I don't have a cool name for this yet. I'm still trying to create a cool name for this, but it's basically, like a cross, and it's like a quadrant, right? And I call this like
Mm.
our empire builder quadrant. I need a good name for it though, but each of these it has a different purpose, right? So the first one is your niche, right? Like at the end of the day, the most important part of all this is the niche. Right? Like think about it. Like
Mm.
most people that get into business, they forget that there's another person at the end of this transaction, right? And that they're trusting you with their money, right? To give them some sort of value because they value what you have more so than the money that they have, right? And at the end of the day, you're selling to people. It's the people that understand their niche the best, right? Will be able to make the most money, right? The next step after you have that niche figured out, whatever it might be, is then moving into the offer, right? And a lot of people jump the gun. They'll go and try and build the offers and products, right? And we see this because our own YouTube channel, the best videos are always like, hey, winning niches, winning products, winning it, but that's not the right way to do it, right? So the winning product, right, only can happen if you understand the customer first. So once you understand your niche, then you can go and be like, okay, well, I found out all these problems. Which one are easiest for me to solve, right? Okay. And then you go start researching the product, bundle in some info products in there. You can use PLR websites to buy some PLRs, repackage them, make them look nice, and just bundle them in for free. The goal is very high perceived value, right? You want to at least double the perceived value to what they're paying for it. So if you're charging like $20, like you should at least have like $40 of value in your offer, right? Because again, they're cold traffic people that have, this is their first contact with you. So you want it to be, a good one. And then also you want in their eyes for it to be a very irresistible offer, right? Now, once you have the offers, and the offers include what's the front end, right? What's that first product that they're going to buy, right? And then picking out 2 complementary upsell products, right? Products that we can add into the funnel as upsells that are going to help increase the average order value, right? The average cart value. And then the third upsell is usually where I like to put in the subscription. So you have 3 upsells and then a front end offer, right? And that's kind of like the logic that the funnel flows, right? They come in, enter their email address, the order form presents the front end offer for them to buy. Then we upsell complimentary product 1, upsell complimentary product number 2. And then thirdly, we give them the subscription, right? The opportunity to join that monthly subscription plan that we have. Then after you have the niche picked out, the offers, then you move into this quadrant, right? Which is the funnel building part. Because a lot of people, they jump in and start building the funnel because it's like they see it, it's tangible, it's something that's they can visually see. So you feel like, oh, I'm getting a whole bunch of work done. But at the end of the day, like, and you know this, right? The funnel doesn't matter, right? Like the funnel really doesn't matter. It's the stuff that you put inside the funnel, right? The research that you've done that makes the funnel work. This is why you see funnels that are ugly and doesn't make any sense to me or you, but somehow that funnel's crushing it, right? Like how, right? Because you're not seeing all the other things that went into it, right? So that's where the funnel, and again, the funnel structure, I like to use the 2-step order form. Again, this is a big issue with Shopify or any, other platforms out there, is you make it so complicated for people to give you money, right? Remember, we live in a very, very, noisy world, right? So, let's say your advertisements, and again, you have to think about it. Where are people seeing your advertisements? They're sitting on the couch or in the bathroom, they're always, they're at work, they're in the car, right? So you don't have a lot of time, right? And what I've seen with these kind of like product pages and, WooCommerce stores, Shopify stores, is you'll send them to a product page, right? And then on the product page, they have to click add to cart. And then once they click add to cart, then they go to the checkout page. Then on the checkout page, they have to click complete. And then there's like, I believe it's like 5 or 6 clicks before they can actually complete purchase, right? And that's a funnel. That's a funnel in itself. It's not a very good funnel because every single kind of step you'll see where you have to make somebody do an action, people will drop off, right? This is why a lot of stores have high add to carts but low conversion, because they get distracted by the time they get to the point where they buy, right? It's not like 100 people are going to click add to cart and 100 people buy, right? Usually you'll have like a 1%, 2% conversion rate, right? So with a funnel, that kind of collapses that 6 clicks that you make them do into 2 clicks. They click an ad and then they can buy, pretty much. It's 3 clicks if they fill out the first step of the 2-step order form. So within 3 clicks, you're able to get them to purchase your front end offer, right? There's a lot less room, right? And this is why funnels are nice, because there's not a ton of bells and whistles, man. These are very simple pages, right? There's no home button. There's no hundreds of different of all your other random products that you have, right? You want them focused on your one best offer, right? And that's your front end offer. What is the best, right, offer that I could put out there, right? That's low cost, that's just going to bring people in the door and give them a whole bunch of value, right? That's what we're doing with the front end offer. And then once they're in your funnel, right, then you can do the 1-click upsells, and then you can offer the actual subscription offer that you put together. Even on your thank you pages, you should be selling them. Push them out to your affiliate offers, push them out to another funnel that you have, right? That the best time to sell somebody something is after they just bought. Right? This is what you see everywhere. I mean, you see this everywhere in retail stores. We go buy a TV, they're upselling you warranties, they're doing all sorts of things, right? But it's like people forget that to do those things in the e-commerce space. And just by having something like that, right, you're going to be able to, acquire customers a lot more profitably than if you just send them to, hey, here's this product page, here's, our one product that we have and we sell here, and then that's it. Right? Like I don't know how you can make a business like that really profitable unless your margins are ridiculous. Like unless your margin is just absolutely insane in your product. You get your product for like, you can make it for like $1 and you're charging like, $50 for it. Right? Okay, cool. Like then you could probably make those numbers work. But for the most part, with e-commerce and physical products, you don't have margins like that, right? You don't have such amazing margins. Some do, of course, but that kind of answers that question.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, that's cool that you got like the 2 upsells and then the third one is a subscription. So it's like most e-commerce store owners, most brands, they don't even do the first upsell and you're doing 3. So you're really giving them a chance like to go through that sequence. And it's actually crazy how rare that is. Even in info world, even in the rest of the basically market, it's super rare to see people trying to get people to, like, okay, they'll try doing the first upsell, they click no, okay, try something else. And, it makes sense because I remember going through one of those sequences. In the first upsell, I was like, nah, that's not really interested. The second upsell, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'll pay 27 or whatever bucks for that. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And so you basically work with this kind of done for you funnel build out, right? You work with both beginners, right? And you help them find their niche, you help them find their product. You basically go through the whole process and hold them, hand by hand as they go through it. And you also work with the more established brands who kind of need help with the direct response side, right?
So yeah, I mean, we, like I mentioned before this call, we are working with brands now that specifically need help with the back end stuff and the funnel builds, of course, as well, because a lot of I don't know why. Again, it's with these most e-commerce brands don't have any sort of funnel in place collecting emails. Some that are, what we're doing is helping manage and set up all of the backend email sequences, right? Non-buyer email sequences, buyer emails, daily emails, tier lists, all those stuff to bring in revenue to the business. And then if you don't have a funnel, building a funnel for yourself and then putting in the back end stuff in there as well, right? Now, these sorts of things, right? You need them, right? Whether, again, you can go do them yourself, right? I come from the frame of mind where back end stuff, right? Something is better than nothing, right? Like anything there is better than not having anything there, right? So, anyone that's listening to this, like, at least have like one upsell, at least have one email that goes out to your customers. But yes, like the things that we do is, yeah, obviously setting up the funnel properly, running traffic to it, and then actually coming up with a strategy on like, okay, well, everybody that opts in but doesn't buy, well, what does that journey look like for them, right? Of course, we'll have abandoned cart emails in there, but like, what after, right? What's after the abandoned cart emails? Right? And then think of us through a strategy of like, okay, well, here's the buyers. Okay, they bought this XYZ product. Okay, well, what does that look like after the confirmation email, right? What does their life look like over the next 3 months, 6 months, right? I know guys that have year-long sequences, right? Like, that's what you want to get to. Like, imagine if you can do that, right? You could then reverse engineer, like, to the point where you literally can be like, hey, I'll pay, $50 for an email opt-in. Because I know just the opt-in, I have a year-long sequence where, XYZ conversion, right? It's important to have these things set up. There's a lot of tech that goes on to, this, I'm sure. Setting up your back-end email automations properly can be a pain in the butt. That's one of the reasons that we do this, making sure the goals are set up properly, list hygiene, list cleaning, and just, because there's a difference, man, like between active subscribers and there's people that like gave you like random email addresses. So, making sure that there's list cleaning. We do re-engagement campaigns. So, a lot of these businesses that we work with, right, they have a list and they've never emailed them. Right? You can't just start emailing them again, like right away and sending them offers because they haven't heard from you. So a re-engagement campaign is really important to do if you haven't ever done one or don't email your list regularly, and then doing a proper list cleaning and really getting down to being like, hey, well, how many active subscribers do you actually have? Right? Because if somebody hasn't opened your email in like 7 months, right, that's not an active subscriber anymore. That person should be removed from your system so your bill is cheaper from like Klaviyo or Active Campaign or whatever you use.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's very technical. It requires a lot of copywriting knowledge. It requires a lot of marketing savvy. It's very like unique, right, in the sense that it's not something that most people really know how to do, and it's just like a whole different part of business. Like for me personally, emails and so on, I'm really, kind of not that knowledgeable about it. And there's different types of emails. There's e-commerce versus info. So if you hire somebody who's an info email marketer for your e-commerce store, there's like some key differences. Like if you're going with an e-com store, you're more likely going to be using Klaviyo, while for an info product, you might be using Active Campaign. Like using Klaviyo for info would probably not make that much sense. So it's like there's all these little nuances that for a larger store that's in the 7 or 8 figures, you're basically talking about like, potentially 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 a month in money that you could be losing out on unless you have this stuff together.
I like to look at it as $1 per month per active subscriber. That's the number. If you have a 10,000 active subscribers, you should be making $10,000 a month off that list. at the very least. Again, that's a blanket statement to say maybe you're selling something that's like already 10 grand or whatever it is, right? But typically that's what you want to be shooting, $1 per, right? And you can always, it's a sliding scale. So if your stuff is more premium, a little bit more expensive, it might be like, $4 or $5 per email. You should track that though. It's really important to track that.
Yeah, and I mean, if that ends up being, let's say $1 per month per email, and that, let's say the average period of time somebody's going to stay on your list before, let's say, they get, they lose interest or whatever. If it's 8 months, 10 months, that's $8 to $10 right there, right? Like, and that's like,
free.
yeah,
You
it's
don't
free,
pay
and
for
that's
it.
on top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's on.
not, it's
Yeah.
free money. It only, so this is like, with the back end system that we put in, right? Like it grows with you. So if you're a business owner and you're like, oh, I only make 10 grand a month in my business. Well, once the system's put in place, like that number that the emails make you, right, grows as your business grows. So let's say 3 months from now, you're doing 20K a month. Well, that the system's sitting there waiting for you to send more traffic to it or more email opt-ins. So that number grows as your business grows, and it's free money, right? It's literally free money that you're just leaving there on the table if you don't have something like that in place, right? It's on top of whatever you're already doing,
Yeah, that's really awesome. Where can people find out about, what you do in terms of?
So if you guys just head over to ecommerceempirebuilders.com, you'll see a column there that just says services, and that you'll see it under our services.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, check. You got also, so guys, if you're, I would highly recommend checking out his webinar, Commerce Empire Builders. Link to the webinar, which is really, really, great training on how, kind of like the basic concepts you need to know to be able to start with e-commerce. And then, yeah, if you've got a bigger e-com brand, like go hit Peter up, because honestly, I run ads. I run a lot of traffic for e-com brands. I've scaled up ads to like 9 grand a day spend in e-commerce. And usually, in my experience, if you had these things that Peter has, that that he kind of teaches and that he builds out for you, you're basically going to be able to scale to massive levels on platforms like YouTube and Facebook, just because of the fact that you won't be subject to the same restrictions your competitors are, right? Like if your competitors are spending $30 to acquire a customer, you can spend 35, and now they may be able to spend $1,000 a day, you can spend $10,000 a day, right? So you're just winning out because you're just able to kind of build a bigger business with much more profit in the back end. So yeah, Peter, I really appreciate you jumping on this call. I hope everybody enjoyed this. Do you have any parting words?
Man, I think we covered a lot. If there's any questions that or follow up, I think you put this on YouTube or Facebook. I'll be sure to check out any questions that you guys drop in the comment sections, or just feel free wherever you're watching this, drop a comment, and I'll make sure to answer any questions that you guys have.
Awesome, guys. Hope you enjoyed this show. Thanks again, Peter, for jumping on. Awesome. Okay.
Awesome, man.